Hi, my name is Jordan Thorne. I'm the editorial content manager at Leaders In. We are here in Vienna at Bio Europe Spring 2019, and I'm joined here by Werner Lanthaler. He's the CEO of Evotech. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
I hope I said that well.
Oh, it was perfect.
So if you could just tell me a little bit about your personal journey into leadership.
I mean, I started off in not a typical science function in biotech. I really come from the accounting world into this industry, and there are not many people who make it via a CFO line to ultimately start to appreciate science and then go into a drug discovery company. Yeah? But my real thing was that I fell in love with the idea to apply efficient business models in a world of science where you really find out that you need both. Yeah? You need the appreciation of science and at the same time you need the organization of science. And both of them are important, and that's a bit like yin and yang. You bring them together and then you have, I would say, a business model that you can bring forward, and then you find your own role, how you can bring a business model like that forward. So that's a bit my journey. I was in a vaccine company before, and now at Evotech I'm in a drug discovery company for all modalities.
Really nice. And do you feel that being a leader in the biotech industry is different from other industries in the way that you have to lead in order to be successful? Is there anything kind of different you have to think about?
Our leader is science. Yeah? And that's, I think, a big difference to all the other industries that are out there, because a data point in science for us portrays where the world can potentially go for a patient. So I think that makes our challenge to lead different than if you're selling soft drinks or if you're selling ice creams. Yeah? And that's also why in our world, you can only lead if you have the appreciation for science. And if you have the imagination what science can do, and if you have the dialogue about science and what science can do, because no single person is right in our industry. You need many people to come together to make a product, and to sell a product, it's even more people that you have to bring together. And I think that's where it is very specific to work in our industry, where leadership ultimately is a big team sport, and that's also the fun of it.
It's really interesting. And I have done a lot of research around mentorship and sort of the lack of mentorship in executive level. I'm just curious if it's something that you find very important to being a good leader, and if it's something that played a role in your growth as a leader.
I mean, mentorship is something where before you complain, people should ask for mentorship. Yeah. And I think that's very often what you find, that people are very often in this mode, oh, I don't have a mentor and I would love to have a mentor. I have the opposite of experience, that many people who are a bit gray hair or without hair like I am, they are happy if they are asked to help others or to mentor others, because we realize that we are increasingly the old generation in our industry, and there's a next generation coming. So I think it's first of all a question to ask, and second, yes, it is important, because you can shrink your learning curve down to half of the time or a quarter of the time if you don't make the mistakes that other people tell you about, and if you are able to adopt that.
Great. And I guess what would be one piece of advice you would offer somebody who's aspiring to be a leader? Maybe they are looking towards being that, but they don't quite know how to get into something like that.
I think one piece of advice is that working hard is not a bad thing, because many people come from this world that they say there are people out there who are the natural leaders, and then there are the not so natural leaders. I don't know what that is. One thing is clear to me, that people who are well prepared are more reliable if you follow them to go into a certain direction. So I think the piece of advice would be to appreciate good preparation if you do something, because it makes one solid block in a team, if someone is well prepared. And in a world where a lot of it is data-driven and not always black and white, but gray, people who represent a solid block in a team can be good leaders. And that comes with good preparation, and that would be a piece of advice. That's one thing. And the other thing is love what you're doing, and if you love it, what you're doing, do more of it. Because you wouldn't believe how much energy you can create. If you love what you're doing. And very often it's about finding what you love, and then you will see that you can do more. If you do something that you don't love, then quit it.
Yeah. Great answer. In your organization, how do you foster creative and innovative thinking?
People have to think more. Well, the big privilege in our industry is that, at least in my company, we only have smart people in the company, because everyone has the privilege of going for a very long time to school, has the privilege of going to academia, has the privilege of doing things that require a long education and require a non-linear path also to learning compared to many other industries. So that's why I think the base level of innovation and creativity is in every person who has the privilege of joining a biotech company. And that's why they have it all in them. It's just a question if you allow it to happen. And that's, I think, the nice thing, that in science, no one can predict what is the solution for the patient. But if someone voices an idea, they will find people who get heard or who listen to them. And if you create a culture where every idea is at least played around in one circle before it's killed, then people will come and will present their ideas, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy all of a sudden. If you kill ideas too early, people will always only bring one idea, because then they will just don't want to go down this path of being embarrassed with presenting an idea. That's what we don't try to do at Evotech. Getting money behind an idea is hard at Evotech, but raising an idea and defending it and having the dialogue. If this would be an idea to get money behind it, that's what we do every day. And then it's only a question of how people get the feedback of why it's not done, and how they get the motivation to bring the next idea and to make it better. Because then you can also appreciate that it's not against the person that the idea is not taken forward. It's against the quality of the idea, but not against the person. And differentiating that, I think, is a key thing for every leader, that when I make a no decision, which I do all the time, it's not against the person. It's against the task that was on the table.
How important do you personally feel tackling diversity and gender issues within businesses are as a leader? Is it something that you try to focus on?
I think it has to become natural for us, that we accept diversity as a natural upgrade for every organization. And that's why the less technical we approach it and the more natural it gets, the better it is. And I think also here, that's only a question of generations, where I today see with my children now 19 and 20, for them it's much more natural than it has been for the older generation. And that's why it will be, first of all, there is still a gap, and it's still something where equality is not in all respects there. But I really think that it will become more and more natural, and where it's not, there we should, and that's fine, apply technicalities to make it just a more level playing ground as we have it today.
Do you personally have a leadership style that you like to lead by?
Yeah, that I at least want to not forget to laugh sometimes.
That's good. That's a good one.
And that's very important, because if everything is only going down that it's technically hard and serious, then in a world where you have 99% of the experiments that fail, you could come to this spiral of frustration way too early. And keeping yourself and your mind open for fun is absolutely core. And that's also, I hope at least, what my team feels, that when it's getting too serious, that sometimes you can step back and say, okay, tomorrow is another day. Because no drug has been developed in one day only. It takes 10 years, and it's like a marathon, and you should have fun on a marathon, otherwise you will not stand it.
Very true. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
All the best.